Hello and welcome to the newest episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. I'm particularly excited about today's episode because this is my first artist based in Scotland. She's an indie pop singer-songwriter who has a new EP out right now called Fragments, and we even talk about how she opened for Liam Gallagher of Oasis. Before we get the episode started, please make sure to like and subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to follow me at Parker Whirling and at onthatnote_podcast on Instagram. And on that note, please welcome Theo Bleak. Before we start the episode, I want to tell you guys about something new that I've been drinking called Up to Good. They're a sustainably minded brand making sparkling caffeinated drinks from upcycled cascara. If you don't know what cascara is, it comes from the exact same plant as coffee, where coffee beans are the seed and cascara is the fruit. This is what gives Up to Good its distinct tea-like flavor and also what naturally caffeinates it, which has been amazing for late night writing sessions when I need a little boost without the jitters, you know? They offer 3 all-natural flavors: cascara mint, lemon ginger, and hibiscus berry. My personal favorite is the cascara mint that I have right here. If you want to check them out, they're on Instagram at uptogoodenergy or order from their site, uptogoodenergy.com. You can even get $5 off their sampler box, which includes one of each of their sparkling caffeinated drinks, by going to their website, uptogoodenergy.com, and using the promo code OTN5OFF. That's OTN, the number 5, off. All caps, no spaces. So make sure to go to their website, uptogoodenergy.com, and use that promo code OTN5OFF for $5 off their sampler box right now. I'm sitting here with Theo Bleak, indie pop singer-songwriter based in Scotland. Thank you for joining me for an episode of On That Note. I know we've been kind of playing tag on the Instagram DMs to figure out when we could finally get this going, and I'd say maybe after a month or so. We're here, we're making it happen. We're going to be talking about Fragments, your new EP that was released May 20th. You were teasing it with some great singles over the course of the year, and I'm excited that it's out. How does it feel for you to finally have that EP out?
Yeah, it was great to have it out because it was just such like a long journey trying to as you say, tease the singles, and then it had all been written like quite some time before, so it was good when it was just all out there.
What was the kind of writing and recording process of that like? Because I know it can take a long time from just writing the songs to the point where it's actually released. You know, sometimes it could take a year or even more.
It was quite quite messy the way we did it, because it was all done all over the place. Like bits of it were finished while other bits were just starting, and it was just wasn't very cohesive. But I think it was because I was just trying to find what I wanted to do as an artist, because I've just got so many like influences that it was really hard to kind of like know what was the right thing for me. And I'm so full of self-doubt, so it was good. But I think because we did it all like ourselves at home, so sometimes if you go into a studio, you know, it's a lot more linear, the experience, but because we could just do it whenever we wanted, it maybe wasn't the best way of doing it, because it was just like stop starting all the time.
Yeah, that can be an unforeseen obstacle when you do get to record everything by yourself or with friends in your own space. It's like way easy to just stop and come back to it, or stop and not come back to it for a long time. Whereas if you're in the studio, you're paying for that time, so there's a lot of pressure to get it done.
Exactly. That's what I found anyway.
Was there a moment you said that you were trying to figure out how you wanted to go about this, maybe what influences to tap into? Was there a moment or two where the light bulb went off and you realized, oh, this is how this song should sound, or I should go this way with this one?
I don't think there was like particular moments. I think it just kind of like, so I'd been in bands before, but it was always very like directed by someone else's vision, Whereas like because this was like sort of my vision, it was hard to find that. And I think I knew, like I know still I wanted to be like, but it's just such a journey of like trials of things till you find it. So I don't think there was like a moment where I was like, oh, this is it. But there's definitely things like I really loved and elements of the songs I really love. But I am really self-critical, so everything I do I kind of look back on and go, well, the next time will be even better and even closer to what. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it feels like a lot of artists are probably more self-critical than not, and that can be such an obstacle to deal with. I mean, for you, how do you tell yourself, hey, this is good enough, right? Because if you don't, then you're stuck in this place where you never put anything out.
Well, yeah, and I think that I don't know, because I think somewhere deep inside me I just have such like a innate urge to create things like that drives me because I actually find every other part of it so stressful and like upsetting sometimes when you don't feel like things are going right, or there's so many other people who are like doing better than you. So sometimes I just have to ignore myself and just be like, well, I'm doing, like, I have to go back to why I want to do it, and it's for myself and like a innate desire to create rather than to please other people. And I certainly won't please myself, so
I was reading this interview about you with The Skinny, the online magazine, and you were talking about how Theo Bleak, the name, is more of a character you've created. And you said, quote, creating Theo gave me an outlet to look at my life with more forgiving eyes. Do you remember the first time you kind of tried on this character, or was it like the other thing you said earlier about how it's a gradual process? And what is it like being that? Is it something that you want to be all the time, or is it a clear writing part of your life, and then when you're not doing that, you're not Theo Bleak?
yeah. I think I wish I could be that character all the time. It's definitely like an ideal of things that I like and a lot of things that I'm not. But ultimately, like, when you're at home or you're not doing music stuff all the time, like, you are just back to your own reality. So it was definitely like a gradual thing, and it's helped me a lot to, like, I'd read about people who kind of had stage, presence, like stage characters or like before, and I never really understood it, but I understood it when I created my own project. And I wanted to create more of like a world than just like a person, like just a very like atmospheric escapism that I get from like other mediums of art. So I wanted to do that myself. But it's just nothing's perfect, so I'd love to be like that all the time, but I'm not.
Yeah, we do all have, I mean, at least I do try to have this standard, I guess, of something, this version of you that you could be all the time, but it's just impossible to always live up to that. Do you feel like, that character, do you have to take a moment to step into that, or does it come pretty naturally to you now?
Yeah, I think it's definitely when I'm performing more that I feel like it's important to have like that presence there with you. That sounds creepy, but like it's like, I think for performing, because I'm so nervous about like performance, it really helps me then, because I'm like, well, screw it, like I can do it, like other people do it, so like this version of me can. I've just been writing like and recording the second bit of work, like big bit of work that I'm going to be doing, and definitely found more that when I'm like in the zone and I'm not thinking about myself, it's much easier to be in that world and be less critical and kinder to myself.
Yeah, that's really cool that you're now taking that character, if you will, and maybe, what's the word? implementing it a little bit more into the writing side, do you feel like, I mean, obviously you just said it does feel nice to do that. How does it feel like the music is coming out in this new project compared to the Fragments EP?
Yeah, I think this bit it's been the songs like have came to me a lot easier, and I think I've had a really strange couple of months where I was like really obsessed with like classic rock.
Nice.
And like just I've just really like taken on so much music from the past, and the stories of like artists from the 70s to the 90s, and I think that's helped my own songwriting. I've just like seen it in a different way, and I think sometimes like I was really trying to like write in this way that was like current to like the present music industry, and like and for like a type of marketing technique for online. Like I think those things like really saturate you even if you don't realize they are. Like it's because it's the way of the world now, so many artists, it's all online, and you know, like it's so I kind of wanted to go backwards and like look at how people created before any of that even existed. So I think that helped as well inspire like the way I've been writing and just trying things and being a lot more like attentive to like guitar sounds and like things that are really minute and to other people in the mixes, but like I'll know they're there. So I've been really, really enjoying that because it's been like, it's just been really special to do that at home.
What are some of the older artists that you've been getting into?
So like, I mean, it feels bad to say because I like obviously it's like I'm going through my Led Zeppelin phase, and it's like that's
Nice.
so hilarious. It's so hilarious that it's like obviously everyone should have that, but I don't know why it's taken me this long. But I mean, yeah, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. I mean, my biggest sort of inspiration though, like always, has been from the 90s. Like Jeff Buckley is my most favorite artist. The album Grace, I think is perfect. Obviously like Eels, Radiohead, Rufus Wainwright.
Nice.
Pavement, Stephen Malkmus.
Yeah.
Like, all,
I love
like,
Pavement.
Yeah, so do I. Like anything from that era. Sun Kill Moon as well. I just like really have been so immersed in all of that, and also then reading about all these artists and being like, well, who inspired them, you know, because there's always like
Right.
so I wanted to get back to the source. Like I love Jeff Buckley, but he loved, you know, Robert Plant, so like it's kind of like, well, I want to go right back to where people really got how they ended up writing from. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's a cool little rabbit hole to go down when you start to find out all the really cool and like almost underground artists that your favorite artists love. And you're like, who the hell even is that? And then you go and listen to that person, and sometimes you're like, oh, wow, I really hear why they like this and how they got inspired by it and how they ended up making this project because they were listening to this person. It can be like a total trip.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I've been doing. And because I was reading about Kurt Cobain as well, I really like reading books from like managers' perspectives and like tour managers, because I think they really show like a very like realistic light on artists, because artists are really like usually pretty, you know, tumultuous people, and I don't think that's always remembered, but like these books kind of are honest about that. But yeah, with some of the bands I heard about, like that Nirvana really liked, and that were, you know, created such a scene in all of these, you know, places that in America that I'd never even heard of, and it was just great to like go back and look at all those bands that existed and inspired like the quote unquote greats that are remembered.
Right. I think it's a good thing for everybody to go back into, you know, the decades, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, to a time where, you know, the way we listen to music now is so different, and the music is different. I'm not going to say it's better or worse. I hate when people say that, you know, new music nowadays sucks. Like, I think that that just like grinds my gears. Yeah.
Same.
But, you know, to be fair, it is easy to get stuck in what's happening now because it's new and fresh and interesting. But there is so much that was done back in the day, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, that I didn't realize, people were doing crazy shit like that. And they were really pushing the boundaries and getting experimental with things. Like, I was never really a huge Elvis Costello fan until I heard this album, Blood and Chocolate. And I was like, wow, this
Yeah.
album is insane. And I heard about that because I was reading reading a book about Radiohead, which is like my favorite band. And Tom York said that album was huge for him. So I was like, all right, well, now I'm going to listen to it. And it's amazing. So that
Yeah.
kind of stuff is, it's good to go back in time and like take some notes, really immerse yourself in a time where things were different.
Exactly. I agree completely. And Elvis Costello, he's funny because he came up recently for me as well. And Mark, who I work with, is a big Elvis Costello fan, but I didn't really know much of his work. But it turns out he did a lot of stuff that was like, classical. Like he worked with like orchestras and was like
I
so
didn't know that.
element. Yeah, like it's Jeff Buckley sang like with an orchestra that was all curated by Elvis Costello, and his name pops up over and over again, especially in that New York scene. But yeah, it's amazing. Tom York as well. Like I know that he went to see Jeff Buckley at where is it? Somewhere in London, and I think it was O2 Cat Shepherd's Bush Empire actually. And he then ended up going home after that show and writing, some of their most famous songs inspired by that show. Like, but yeah, you forget that
Crazy.
people have like so many experiences that create, their art, I guess.
Yeah, because in your mind, they just have always been that person.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have to live every second of every day before those huge moments happen that everybody remembers them for.
Exactly. It's odd.
And speaking of O2 Shepherd's Bush Empire, you just said in an Instagram post recently that you had played there and you were like really stoked. You'd been wanting to play there forever. So what was that feeling like?
Yeah, that was amazing. It was really surreal. It was funny. I mean, hate to go straight to the critical, but I literally made one of the biggest F-ups I've ever made on stage as well there, which was hilarious. But
What was
it basically like I've been having issues with my acoustic guitars and they like feedback like on the monitors like on stage, and I was like singing like half a semitone down from like what the key was supposed to be. It was just like so bad, but I managed to like resolve it. But what I liked about that show is like in the past I would have been like, oh my god, I've made such a huge mistake, everyone has noticed it, but I didn't care. I just, because I was so immersed in the experience, and like anything worth doing is imperfect anyway, so I was like, it's just part of it. But the venue itself's absolutely amazing. Like it really was. Like I wish I could do it again.
Well, you just might. You might be headlining next time.
Oh,
you never
wow.
know.
You never know. You never know. I hope so.
Is it like a big theater or like an arena?
Yeah, it's a big theater, so there's a lot of like these in London that were used as like playhouses, or for
Right.
opera and stuff like that, and they've been I guess well, I think lots of stuff still is played there, like classical as well. But yeah, some of the people that have played on that stage is absolutely incredible. Soundgarden for one, they've
Nice.
done a show there, and I was like, oh, this is so weird, like being,
Yeah.
being here.
Did you just
But
feel
it's-
like you were taking in the history of it all?
Exactly, yeah. I love venues like that for that reason.
Do you have any advice for people when they want to play live, especially in in an environment where they could be easily overwhelmed? Like, you could have easily been totally freaking out because of the importance of this venue. Like, did you do anything to help calm those nerves? Do you have any advice for somebody that needs, advice on how to calm their nerves?
Oh, well, I totally understand if people are nervous, because I get crazy nervous, like, but actually, weirdly, I get more nervous if it's smaller venues, like where there's less people. I think when you play like bigger shows, there's such a disconnect sometimes from like the audience, and it feels so unreal that you can kind of just, if the stage is big and stuff, like you've got more space to kind of relax.
Yeah.
But I think the way I deal with it is I actually just have to lean into it, and like, because I feel like I'm not real sometimes when I'm on stage. Like it's quite, I get like this horrible cold feeling over me where I'm like, oh, I don't know where I am, but I kind of just have to be like, well, it's just because my brain is probably like, what the fuck is going on? Like, where are you? So you just kind of have to, lean into it and like, I don't know, everyone's different though. Like I know like I've toured with a lot of bands, and you know everyone is so different the way they deal with their nerves. I think it's just finding what's right for you. I like to be alone before I go on stage. Like everything needs to be quiet, but other people like to blast music and
right.
jump around. But yeah, I need it to be like, I need some alone time.
Yeah, do a little meditation, chill out for a sec.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't drink alcohol or anything, so I think I always go on stage, with a completely clear mind,
right.
which can be daunting as well, because I know some people like to take
a shot before they go up.
Well, exactly. That I would probably fall over, so there's no way.
Yeah, we'll keep it sober then.
Yeah.
You also opened for Noel Gallagher, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. How was that?
That was good. Yeah, it was actually where I live in Scotland that he was playing. So I was like so close to my house. It was hilarious. And one of my friends texted me, like, he was like, I can literally hear you guys sound checking from my flat, because it was like an outside show. But yeah, it was amazing. Like I mean, it was funny because one of like the local papers made it out like I was like, my childhood hero was Noel Gallagher, which isn't strictly true, but I definitely do like understand the impact like Oasis had.
Yeah. Like
in the 90s, even like stylistically, the way they dress and everything, like everyone dresses like that now. So
that's a good point.
There's definitely something really cool about them, and it was good. And I watched his show after, and I actually couldn't believe how many of his songs I knew the words to. I was like, God.
Could he play Oasis songs, or did they have to be strictly his songs?
Because he'll own like the rights to like a lot of Oasis songs, because he like wrote them, so like, or he wrote the top line, so he's allowed to perform them. But he did like his own stuff, and then he did like a couple of Oasis songs. I don't think he was too happy about like the crowd being so stoked that he was playing Oasis stuff, but I was like, well, that's how you're famous, so
yeah. I've heard he's not very well known for being a nice guy for the most part.
No, he
a little ornery maybe.
Yeah, I think like he turned up like at exactly the stage time, like on his bus, went on stage, and then like came off again. So I didn't meet him or anything, but I wasn't that bothered. I was
gonna ask if you met him and how that would have been.
No, I didn't meet him, but that was fine with me.
It seems like one of those don't meet your heroes kind of situation if you do idolize him,
Yeah, which I don't. Like I think like I like Oasis, and I like what they did, but like it's still kind of like lad culture, so I'm quite different to that,
Lads culture, that's funny. I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah, well, I mean, lads in Britain anyway, that's what it's like.
Right.
Lad, but
yeah, we would call it, I guess, bro culture over here.
Bro,
in the
yeah.
States.
Yeah.
But lad, I like that. That's funny.
It is funny, but no, it was absolutely great. Like I had a great day, and like it's still a good opportunity to meet some people, and I'm sure hopefully a few people resonated with our set. So it was everything is worth doing. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Do you have any more shows coming up that you want to promote?
So I'm doing a couple of. I actually haven't doing much, to be honest. I hadn't been feeling very well, so I actually pulled out of quite a few things in the last month or so, which I regret a bit, but I also know I kind of had to do that, if that makes sense. So it was the right choice. But I am going ahead with my 2 festivals that I'm doing next month. I'm playing one in Scotland called Other Lands, and then I'm playing at one outside Birmingham in England called Moseley Folk Festival. But the rest of my band are really excited about those 2 festivals, because the lineup's really, really cool. So
nice. Who are you going to try to see?
Well, I'm most excited about the Moseley Folk Festival. Kurt Weill's playing at that.
Oh,
so
cool.
Yeah, I think that would be really awesome. And I think it's like a really beautiful setting, and you know, I like being outdoors, so sometimes festivals suit me. Like it's quite a chill day, so I'm gonna do them. And then I will be doing a lot more shows at the end of the year, but that's not all been confirmed yet. But yeah.
Cool. Well, if you're in the area, go check out Theo Bleak at what was it called? The
So Other Lands Festival.
Other Lands.
And then Mostly Folk Festival.
Mostly Folk Festival. That's right. Yeah. So I wish I could go. It's a little bit far from me, but I know it's going to be awesome.
Yep, it should be.
Cool. Well, that's going to take us over to the last 5. I'm just going to ask you 5 quick questions, and then we will be done.
Lovely.
All right. Number 1, in the studio or playing live?
In the studio.
Yeah? You were talking so much about playing live. I thought it might have been playing live.
Yeah, I love those studios. No one's heard it yet, so.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's something cool about creating something out of nothing, you know, or just all the changes you didn't expect to come into a song when you wrote it. They like manifest in the studio.
Exactly, and you can still change everything if you're not happy about it. But
That's true. That's also true. Question number 2: what is a perfect album front to back?
Oh.
You said
Grace.
One earlier.
Yeah, Grace by Jeff Buckley.
That is a pretty awesome album. It took me like 20-something years to listen to it.
To be fair, though, my 2 favourite albums, Grace by Jeff Buckley and The Software Slump by Grandaddy. I think they're perfect cover to cover.
Never even heard of that one.
Oh,
The Sophomore Slump by Grandaddy?
The Software Slump.
Software Slump. Oh,
yeah.
That's funny. Is it one word, Grandaddy?
Yeah.
When did this come out?
2000.
2000.
2?
There you go.
Oh, 2000. Okay, cool.
Cool. I got it queued up, so I'll listen to it after.
Okay, let me know what you think. I love it.
Is that it? Those 2 that you would say? Final
yeah,
answer?
well, they're the ones that come to my mind initially, so they have to
Right.
be the true answer, yeah.
That makes sense. Question number 3: dream artist or producer to work with?
Oh my god. Oh, that's so difficult. I'm just gonna say, it's someone from the past though, so they're not even alive.
That's
I
okay.
don't know.
You
maybe,
can name a few too.
I actually don't know why I cannot think of this. Can we come back to this question once I've had a thought? We can move
Absolutely.
on.
But
okay,
this might actually help you. I like to think
Okay.
of a couple artists that I would like to see my guest work with. My first one was Beach House.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
I think
I'd
that would
love
be
that.
really sick. And then the other group artist, whatever, would be Portishead. Specifically, like the Adrian Utley and Jeff Barrow, who like do all the producing.
That's really, they're really good ones actually. Yeah, because I like both of them as well. And Portishead, definitely that 90s sort of guitar sound I really like. So, and Beach House, I saw them once actually at Primavera Sound in Barcelona.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were incredible, really cool.
I saw them in like 2017, maybe. It was like right after they released Depression Cherry.
Yeah.
Sorry. And it was crazy. They were insane.
Absolutely. You know what? I would say Tom York. Like it's
Yeah,
probably
why not?
a pretty basic one, but you know what? He'd bring something to the table I would love. So
I think he would. Yeah, I think he could come up with some interesting ideas.
yeah, I'm sure he could.
No, it's a great answer. His solo stuff is pretty good too, but it always just leaves me wanting more Radiohead. You know?
I do love his, and I like. I was a huge Twilight fan, unfortunately. Actually, not unfortunately. It's part of who I am.
Yeah,
and,
be confident about that.
Yeah, I am confident about it. Twilight's kind of ended up being cool, which is funny to me.
I just watched like the first 2 or 3 like a month ago or 2 months ago.
They're genuinely like classic. You wouldn't get a film made like that anymore. It's like you just gotta love it. But yeah, like Tom York's on that soundtrack, which I always just found so funny. Like,
What was it? I forgot because I remember that coming on and I freaked out.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's this most. It's probably one of the most famous ones he's done solo, but it's probably because of Twilight, to be honest. But,
that's true.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. But I was like, that's such a
That'd
disconnect.
Be a good trivia question. Radiohead
Yeah.
trivia.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Twilight trivia, but I think most people that play that wouldn't know that one.
No, definitely not. But we would if we could remember the name of it.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So Tom York, great answer. Question number 4: what are you listening to right now? What's on the rotation?
Okay, may I look at my playlist for this?
Totally.
Because my brain. Wait, please.
Pretty much everyone has to. That's the first thing everybody says after that is, can I check my Spotify?
It's literally because we live so, like, addicted to digital stuff. Like, you just rely on it as your memory now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been listening to Midlake, Alex G.
Nice. I'm a huge Alex G fan.
Oh, wow, yeah. Current Joyce, he's always one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Elliott Smith,
Nice.
Led Zeppelin 2 and 4, and Physical Graffiti. I've been listening to them a lot.
Cool.
Palace Music, they're pretty cool. And I'll just give you one more. Who else have I been listening to? Like a newer band called Ray, W-R-A-Y. They're really cool. They're kind of like Cocteau Twins.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, cool guitars, like cool vocals, but it's really vibey. It's good, like, just for kind of, I don't know, chill listening. I've really enjoyed them.
Ray, I'll check that one out as
Yeah.
well. What do you think about the new Alex G singles?
Yeah, I was so shocked, actually, when I first listened, because I just thought it was so different. But it isn't actually that different to what he's done before, but it just... the whole feeling of it felt so much more positive, and I was like, "What is happening? This is not what you're known for." But I love it. I just think he's something so special, though. Like, he really is. I don't know. I relate to him a lot. Like, his life. He's had quite a difficult life, I think, but he's just creates such a feeling. His music's like a film rather than music. I don't know if that makes sense, but...
No, I totally feel that. I really love both of the new singles, and to me, those two are, like, very different from each other. You know, Blessing is super dark and, like, ASMR, and it's so weird. And then the other one is more, like, Proud, his song Proud, which I love. Sorry about that. It's my phone. But... yeah, I'm a huge fan. Do you have a favorite album?
There's one my favorite song by him is Taking. So it's the album that's on, but the name of that album escapes me.
Is that House of Sugar?
It might be, yeah.
I guess the newer one.
Yeah.
That one had some
House of Sugar
songs.
and Rocket, those two albums.
I love Rocket.
Yeah, it's just such a, like, a world he creates. I don't know, like, it's really special.
Yeah, I had a guy on this show, his name is Wilter, shout out to Wilter, and he was in the, like, top 0.1% of Alex G listeners on Spotify. You know how they give you the little stats at the end of the year?
Yeah.
So, obviously, we talked about it, and I was like, in your professional opinion, obviously, what do you think is the best album of his? And he said Beach Music. And
all right.
I never really listened to that one that much. So then after that I did, and it's been the one that I probably come back to the most. That one really, like, he kind of, like, changed my mind there, because I would have said Rocket before, but I still kind of think Rocket, like, scratches an itch that the other ones don't really.
Yeah, it's all the weird... I'm just like, where did you come up with these, like, strange ideas for sounds he adds in?
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be in his brain. Actually, I would love to do an album with him.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Or, because I was like... Well, it's funny, because I use Apple Music now, but I used to use Spotify, and I did, like, one of these, like... it was, like, a pie chart of, like, songs you listen to, and it was, like, literally just the only artist it was giving me was Current Joyce and Alex G, and I was like, God, like... But that was last year. I was like, God, I really obviously went through, like, a serious phase of those two. But
you got to diversify a little bit.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, the last question here is something we've kind of been talking about. What is your favorite decade of music?
The 90s, definitely.
Yeah.
I think probably particularly 94 to 2002, I think is when most of the music I like most is
94 to 2002.
Yeah, I think so. I know that's really specific, but I'm just thinking of albums when they were released. But yeah, I just think there was like such a, because obviously you had grunge, but then that got so swiftly moved out of the way when Kurt Cobain died, and it kind of was like a much more theatrical, because I think a lot of good music really walks like a line of being kind of like corny, and I think there was so much that they just were not afraid to try in that time, but they still had these elements of grunge and you know, alt rock, and it just had such an amalgamation of so many things, and I think a lot of stuff was definitely tried out, and then I don't know, I think we're maybe kind of in a similar phase at the moment like that again, because obviously everything's in kind of 20-year cycles, but for me personally, that era.
That's a question that somebody asked me. They're like, what do people usually say? I'm like, there's not really, like, I wish I recorded everyone's answer for that, because it really is all over the place. Like, a lot of people say 70s. Recently, people have been saying 90s more. I mean, 80s is a big one, but I wouldn't pick that one personally. And then, you know, 2020s is also, or 2010s, I guess. 2020s, you got 2 years to pick from. That's not really fair.
But I think that, like, maybe if I could answer that question in another way as well, probably like being right now, because we actually have access to every single decade. So really, we're the lucky ones, because it's like looking at a library. You can just pick from all those decades. But yeah, I don't know, because there's obviously so much from the 2010s as well. Like when I was at high school, like some of the music that came out, like, I mean, some of the big British bands like Foals and, you know, stuff like that. Like, I don't resonate with that music as much now, but I definitely did when I was younger. So you can't discount like the impact they had as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny how you go through this process in like around high school, college time, where you have all these artists that you love, and then you kind of just grow and become a different person, and you end up shedding some of those bands or those artists, and you realize you don't really listen to them that much anymore, but you know, at a certain point in time, they were like your life. You know, that was Queens of the Stone Age for me.
Oh, I loved Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah, I mean, they are amazing.
Foo Fighters as well.
Yeah. Those both used to be on constant rotation for me in high school.
Yeah, I was the same. I used to love, like, I love that song, I Want to Make It With You. I used to listen to that, like, all the time.
That is a great song.
Yeah. To be fair, their newer albums were pretty good. I don't remember when their last one was, but I did like it. It was maybe 2016 or something.
I think it was about 2016 or 2017. It's been a long time since they've put out anything. But Josh Homme is a little problematic, so maybe he's trying to lay low right now.
Oh my god. Well, nothing surprises me now.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's pretty much our time here on that note. Theo Bleak, thank you for joining me for an episode. Glad we finally got to make this happen. Everybody needs to go check out Fragments, your new EP. It's amazing. And your new 2 shows, which are coming up over the next month. Can you say where they were again?
Of course. So I'm playing at a festival called Otherlands, which is in Perth in Scotland. And then I'm playing Moseley Folk Festival, which is outside of Birmingham in England.
Awesome. So everybody, if you are in the neighborhood, go check out Theo Bleak. Thank you again for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And I'll let you know what I think about that album you were telling me to listen to.
Yeah, please do.
I will. All right. Theo Bleak, I'll see you later.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again for joining me for another episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. If you haven't yet, please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, and you can even leave a comment down below to let me know who you're listening to. On that note, I'll see you guys next time.